Mic check, check, check. Good morning. Morning from Sycamore Crossing. I'm sitting in for BKP, RFG here. And we are here at beautiful Sycamore Crossing, downtown Blue Ridge, where we do the show every Friday morning. We've got a segment this morning with Doc Tidman, who's substituting for Dr. Good morning from the office, our beautiful downtown Blue Ridge. Yes, you are not seeing Brian this morning. I believe Brian, after watching the debate last night, he might be trying to find the line to line up for that free $1,000, that monthly $1,000 that Andrew Yang. Anyway, we'll cover that a little bit later with the All-Star panel. But I just want to recognize how beautiful and serene downtown Blue Ridge here at Sycamore Crossing. We're going to probably hear the sights and sounds of this small little destination community. We'll have delivery trucks and we'll have train whistles, but we'll get through it. We're going to be joined this morning by Dr. Ray Tidman. Dr. Ray Tidman is substituting for our friend Dr. Bill Whaley, who is still traveling. He will be back with us next week. BKP is on assignment. He will be back with us on Monday as well. And we've got Jesse Barton in here from the community center in Ellijay. We'll do Pet of the Week. The All-Star panel will be with us. So we're gonna have a great time this morning. On Wednesday we acknowledged the 19th anniversary of the 2011 attack on the United States. When that happened, folks, we swore we would never forget 9/11. We swore we would never forget 9/11, but we did. We have. There was a 2-minute piece that I really felt compelled to share with you. Possibly some of you have seen it. But it was a piece done by Brittany Hughes in 2017, and she takes us chronologically what we've become after we were a unified nation on that day in 2001, where everybody was proud of the flag, where everybody had a flag on their automobile. They flew the flag in front of their homes. Now if you wear a t-shirt with a flag on it at a baseball game, you're called out for it. But I want to play that little piece for you. Please let it sink in. Take a look at it. Understand what is being said there. And then we will go to break. And when we come back, we will have Ask the Doc segment with Dr. Ray Tidman today. So please watch this clip, and we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Hey guys, I'm Brittany Hughes. You're watching MRC TV, and this is your reality check. 16 years ago today, 2,606 people were killed when 2 planes slammed into the World Trade Center in New York City. Another 125 died when a 3rd plane hit the Pentagon. 40 more were killed when hijacked Flight United 93 crashed in a Pennsylvania field. We all sat there glued to our box TVs watching the whole nightmare, most of us completely helpless to do a thing. Do you remember our reaction 16 years ago today? In the months after 9/11, there was barely a car on the road that did not have an American flag bumper sticker. Today, we can't even fly Old Glory at a baseball game without someone getting offended. 16 years ago, we watched proudly as a group of New York City firefighters raised an American flag over the rubble at Ground Zero. Today, left-wing rioters burn American flags in the streets. 16 years ago today, millions of Americans were introduced to Islamic extremism for the very first time. Today, you can't even say the words Islamic extremism without being accused of bigotry and hate. 16 years ago today, our nation was attacked by 19 al-Qaeda terrorists, all of whom were foreign, and at least 3 of which were here illegally. Now, at the time, we were outraged. But today, if you dare to say that immigrants should be thoroughly vetted, that foreign visitors must obey our visa laws, and that illegal aliens should be removed, you're a hateful, xenophobic Nazi. 16 years ago today, we as a nation promised that we would never forget 9/11. But we did. We forgot. Every time some bleeding heart liberal apologizes for Islamic violence, every time a sanctuary city leaves us open to foreign threats by deliberately ignoring our immigration laws, every time some attention-whoring athlete or overpaid celebrity gets famous off insulting a nation that has given them so much, we forget. 16 years ago today, 2,977 innocent people died in a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, and we forgot. And it is high time we started remembering. May God bless those who lost loved ones on 9/11, whose hearts still ache every single year on this day. And may God, in His mercy, bless the United States of America.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
8 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hey, good morning. We are back. Good morning from the office. Beautiful downtown Blue Ridge, Sycamore Crossing. I hope you were able to see the piece that that Lonnie just played for you, I do want to make a correction. I misspoke. I said it was we were honoring the 19th anniversary. It actually is the 18th anniversary. The piece that was done, though, was written was aired 2 years ago in 2017. So I apologize for that. But I'm delighted to be here this morning with Dr. Tidman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, this segment is going to be brought to you by, I want to get this correct now, North Georgia Cancer Research Center, associated with Northside Hospital. Normally asked the doc segment is with Dr. William Whaley, who's traveling with his wife. So Jane will not be here from the All-Star panel, and Dr. Whaley is still traveling, and we're delighted to have Dr. Tidman with us this morning. How are you, sir?
Rick, you mentioned Northside. I just learned a little fact. That little hospital, factoid in Canton. They delivered 150 babies there last month.
Holy cow!
They're getting after it. That place is just hopping.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I understand that facility is second to none.
It's just very nice. Yeah.
Very, very nice. So, well, should we get to our first question?
Sure.
All righty. First question is, and I'll run the second part of it together, if you will.
Yeah, run them together.
How long is flu contagious? And how likely am I to get flu even if I get a flu shot?
So it's good timing, that question. The flu vaccines are arriving in most doctors' offices. Pharmacies are starting to get them in, so you can get your vaccine now. Flu is generally contagious from a day or two before you get real symptomatic, which is the problem,
right?
Because you don't know you're spreading it, to the final fever breaks, to most of your somatic symptoms go away, your gut aches, your muscle aches, stuff like that. While you're running that fever, you're very contagious.
So just stay away.
Just stay away, stay isolated, stay out of public. Now, the vaccine, let's talk about that for a minute. There's several nuances to that question. You can't give a real total, numeric answer that nails it. So let me kind of walk around it for a second. The vaccine is, every year the CDC goes out and surveys what's going on in other parts of the world where the flu is active. They pull 6 or 7 strains out of that are real virulent, that are really making people sick, and they mix those together and create an American vaccine for this season.
So every year a new vaccine is developed.
It's a new vaccine.
Based on what is...
Yeah. So every year that you get a vaccine, you're getting more and more strains of the flu that you are becoming immune to. Having said that,
those strains never leave you once you get them.
Yeah,
if I had a flu shot
around the world dancing.
If I had a flu shot 5 years ago,
yeah,
those strains are in my system.
You're still protected from those strains.
I gotcha.
Right. So, if you could give a group of people the vaccine, and you could expose those people to those strains that are in the vaccine's about 96% effective. Like only 4 people out of 100 are going to get the flu when they're exposed to those strains. But we're not just exposed to those strains. We're exposed to all kinds of strains. They pick the top 7 or 6. In that situation where you're just exposing people in general who've gotten the vaccine, it can be anywhere from 70 to 96% effective because of the other strains. Also, there are certain people who are really immune deficient, or the vaccine wasn't administered quite right, or they had other things going on that make them not build up immunity. But it's pretty effective. Now, here's another way of looking at it. We try to get children to take pneumovaxes now. Well, it not only protects the children, but it protects their grandparents.
Pneumovax?
Pneumovax, the pneumococcal vaccine.
Got it.
Prevnar.
Okay.
So when you vaccinate the children, who are the little vectors running around sharing bugs at school, they bring those things home to the family. Well, we see when the children are effectively vaccinated, not only are they protected because they're vulnerable to pneumonia at a young age, the elderly are vulnerable. So we try to get the elderly vaccinated, but they're even protected by the children being vaccinated. So vaccines have a
more far-reaching effect.
More far-reaching effect just on the population, kind of what we talk about, a herd immunity. And that's why we try to get people vaccinated early, particularly the most vulnerable, people that are on cancer treatments or have lung disease or elderly and are debilitated. they need to get their vaccines now.
When you see a patient or a patient calls you and said, "I've got the flu," how long is this going to last? Is there some kind of a magic number?
No magic number. It depends on, if they're
age, condition, health, and stuff like this. But I mean, I'll tell you, when I was a young person pre-vaccination period in high school, a wrestler and a runner, very, very fit, very, very healthy, I would get the flu and it would be awful. I mean, I'd have it for 7 to 10 days. I'd have high fevers. I'd have severe nausea and vomiting, hallucinations. I mean, I got sick with the flu. So, and I was healthy. So it depends on odd things about how your body responds to that virus. And then, so that contagious period, you said, is probably maybe 2 days.
A couple of days before you really get symptomatic.
And then as soon as that fever breaks, you're probably
good.
clear.
You're good. Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to last 7, could be 10 days.
Yeah.
How does that differ from like an H1N1, the swine flu, or the H2N2?
I mean, here's
are those covered in?
No, I mean, they're not being currently in the current vaccine because they didn't show up in large populations.
But when they did,
they try to cover for that.
Okay.
I mean, take 100 years ago, 1918, the end of World War I, the flu pandemic worldwide was so severe and massive, the population of the Earth actually dropped that year. The flu killed more people than were born that year. That's
even
amazing.
With the plague and everything else.
Yeah,
huh?
I didn't put that back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But just 100 years ago, you had a flu pandemic that was taking out large populations of people.
Right. Now, I don't know whether I should say I'm going to embarrass myself or just tell the truth. I'm not a big flu shot guy. I've never had one. Mm-hmm. And there is no relation to this probably, but I've never really had the flu.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what can be said about that, but you do hear sometimes stories about side effects. Oh, what they're doing is they're just injecting the flu at a smaller dose into my body, so I'm going to get a little bit of the symptoms.
So there are two.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so that's a good question. That's not an ignorant question. There are attenuated viruses where they just beat them up really bad, and they're introduced to your body, and your body finishes killing them, and then knows how to kill them. And then there are inactivated viruses where they just shredded the virus. They've got parts of the virus. There's no chance at all that the vaccine's going to give you the flu.
Okay.
You're just getting some of the proteins and stuff, so the body says, okay, well, that's wrong. I need to attack that. Next time it shows up, I'm going to attack it. So for the flu, you're in that second group. Now, I try not to get too high-minded and elitist about this. And, there are people who have their notions about what they should and shouldn't do with their body. My thing is, it's your body, it's your choice, you do what you think is right. I think people need to behave in general that way. So I'm not going to shame you for not getting the flu virus. I might say, hey, you can give it a try 1 or 2 years. If it made you sick, then you've got your own one-off experiment. There's no harm in trying. But I don't try to get on people and say, oh, shame on you for not doing that.
I got you.
I just don't think that works in society in general. So.
Dr. Whaley told me, about the new shingles virus, the new shingles shot.
Vaccine, yeah.
That came out not too long ago.
A year or so ago, yeah. The new vaccine is really...
It's a 2-part vaccine. Yeah. I did get that one.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some of the debilitating effects of shingles.
Yeah.
Especially if you get it around your face and it gets into your eyes.
Well, I had a fellow just
blindness.
last week. He was cranial nerve 7, which is the side of the face,
right
into his ear. I mean, he was in immense pain.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even recover from that.
No, you can have
it'll do permanent damage,
pain.
right?
Yes.
So, I mean, so personally speaking, I opted not to get the flu shot, but I opted to get the shingles shot.
Yeah.
And
it's a personal choice thing. I think everything in life needs to be a personal choice thing. It's our freedom.
Exactly.
So,
tell me about, as long as we're on this, if you will, tell me about a virus that you get, or you get a cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a misnomer, but I've been told that once you get rid of that cold, you will never get that same strain again. Is that
pretty
correct?
much true. Unless you got real sick or you had to have chemotherapy or something that knocked your immune system down, then you could get it again.
Yeah.
But your immune system, for the most part, once it's nailed something, it's you're not going to get it again.
I've got twin grandsons who are going to be 5 years old in October.
Yeah.
And it just seems like this guy's getting a cold, then he gets the cold.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, okay, well, they'll never get that cold again.
Right.
And then this guy gets the cold, and he gives it to this guy.
I joke with
it seems like they go back and forth like a ping pong game.
I've joked with my parents that when school starts back up, all the kids go back and they're schooling each other on viruses, because they're all passing them around, sharing them. They all get their runny noses. They bring them home to mom and dad. So that first month or two of kids going back to school is a real sharing period of lives.
You get inundated with all the grandparents coming in, right?
Right, you're learning about.
I
those
was
viruses.
with my grandkid and he just killed me.
Yeah.
This segment is being brought to you by North Georgia Cancer Research Center, associated with Northside Hospital. We're delighted to have Dr. Ray Tidman here this morning, and we're going to go to the second question, and we talked about this a little bit offset. Is immunotherapy an option for all lung cancer patients?
So let me defer on that. We're sponsored by Georgia Cancer. They are the gurus of cancer, and anybody that's dealing with a specific cancer and a specific treatment, it's very important that they get those questions answered by their oncologist. And I'd rather not take a shotgun approach to that.
You do well on that All-Star, on the political panel that I watched last night for a few minutes, deferring questions like that.
Yeah.
No, but I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if a patient came in to you, you would refer him to a specialist,
sure. If
right?
it's out of my area, and in particular this area, we're talking about individualized treatment, and that's what the oncologists are excellent about, is that they really pick and take that cancer that you're dealing with, where it is in your body at your state in life, and try to optimize the treatment for you. And that's what you get when you go to that kind of oncologist like Dr. Whaley's.
Yeah. This may be a tough question. I don't know. This came to mind. It's, when you talked about seasonality and you talked about the kids going back to school.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything in your practice now that you say, oh my gosh, this was never so prevalent in years past as it is now? Or
it's
do things
interesting
just
you ask
ebb and flow?
Sometimes I think about things I don't see.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Right. Like I don't see constipation like I used to. Constipation is a horrible problem to have. We have so many treatments for constipation now, it's very uncommon. I don't see the foot problems I used to see. People are buying nice shoes with good inserts. By the way, you know what memory soles are for, right? That's so when you go to the refrigerator, you remember what you were looking in there for. So that could be my joke today.
No, I'm waiting for the final piece.
Yeah. So no, we don't.
That's interesting.
Maybe that's from getting a little bit older, but there are things I don't see much in. Now, along that line of things that we do see now, it's some of the addiction stuff going on. Some of the like smoking is way down. People really cut back on their smoking, making up their mind, getting away from tobacco. But this whole vaping thing is
the vaping
scary.
thing is in the news. You've had we've seen some tragic deaths, young people. The manufacturers will tell you that they're not responsible for that. It's all black market stuff.
Well, see, that brings up the whole thing, and this is what I talk about with nutraceuticals. There's a whole class of chemicals that are concentrated that are not regulated. They're not FDA approved, studied, double-blinded, placebo-controlled. It's the Wild West.
So, and they're being abused.
And there are people, shysters and bad actors, putting stuff in things that you're now inhaling directly into your lungs. You don't know what kind of Nimrod messed with that stuff going in your lungs. why take that risk? I mean, we get really naive as people, particularly young people, unfortunately, thinking, oh, okay, well, it's cool, it's sold in the store, and I paid good money for it, it's got to be okay. Well, no, it's not okay. And there are people who don't really care, putting stuff in things that you're now inhaling into your lungs, and that's right into your bloodstream.
So if somebody really needs that nicotine rush with an e-cigarette,
get it from a reliable manufacturer that's heavily regulated, that's big enough that they're scared to death of lawsuits, that they're going to make sure it's done right.
and didn't the government come in and, like in 2017, freeze everything that the way those e-cigarettes are being manufactured?
Well, actually, they came in and released. It was not 17. I'm losing track of what. Maybe it was 15 or something like
Right.
that. It was during the Obama administration. They sort of released and let go on it, saying, well, maybe the vaping of tobacco will get people off the dirty cigarettes with all the crud in them, that they'll just get the nicotine. But you open the door to bad actors, you know.
And you also have, well, you know, anytime something like this happens, it seems like the government wants to treat it with emotion instead of common sense.
Yeah. Or the media, or both.
Yeah.
Can they jack people up, get them upset, get them excited, get some votes out of it, or get some contributions? It is dysfunctional. It's not logical. They don't deal with it with common sense. There are rational ways of dealing with this. It doesn't need to be made into a hysterical thing. But people need to use their brain.
The common sense issue, it seems to me, would be not to penalize the ones that are abiding by
The rules.
the rules, because if you shut those people down, then the black market gets even bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's your take on some of the opioid things that are coming down these days? Some of the rulings, big pharma.
It's a free for all for the legal profession, and there are a lot of people who are going to make a bunch of money off probably some bad actors. There's some people that should financially pay for their sins, but you know, the tragedy is that there are many patients with severe pain.
Right.
And
those are the ones that are going to be penalized.
They're going to get punished. And the doctors that are trying to take care of them are now, you know, leery of what they're doing and worried about, you know, how things are going to be handled. So it's swung way to an extreme now.
I mean, you're literally probably almost, I don't, maybe a bad choice of words is scared.
Oh yeah,
but
a physician scared, sure.
But a physician now who writes a Schedule II prescription, gotta go,
Think twice.
Man, where's this going, right?
Just 10 years ago, there was a big push in the hospitals to add a vital sign to the patient's vitals, you know, blood pressure, pulse, temperature, pulse oximeter, pain score.
Ah.
And the feds came in and audited hospitals to say, are you monitoring patients' pain and are you addressing their pain? Okay?
So they're pushing the other way 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago it was like, are you taking care of people's pain? Well, now it's like, are you just giving out pain medicines like they're candy? I mean, it's the politicians get a hold of things and it gets really nuts.
Well, that's that same thing again, you know, emotion over common sense.
Yeah.
Can you describe what fentanyl is prescribed for? And
back when I was a young resident, we did obstetrics. You could take nanograms of fentanyl and inject it into a cervix where that's dilating for a delivery.
Right.
Totally block pain. I mean, it's a very, very powerful pain medicine.
Right.
It's given in very, very tiny doses through a patch through the skin, long acting, and controls pain. So it's a very concentrated.
Is that localized pain?
No, whole body pain.
Whole body,
put a patch on a patient, a patch no bigger than this,
right,
and they've got pain control for 3 days.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazingly strong, effective medicine.
Addictive?
It's totally addictive. That's one of the paradoxes. Now, this is something that, getting into philosophy, when you think about it, the very thing that people can suffer from, pain, whether they've been mangled or orthopedically injured or they have some cancer thing going on, that you want to relieve them from, the thing that relieves them from that is extremely addictive. Now think about the paradox of that.
Right.
That our one most effective treatment for things that are bad, pain, can cause other extremely bad things. That's something to ponder and talk about.
Probably, it's a huge challenge in your practice,
in our profession,
in your profession. Yeah. Well, we covered a little bit more ground than just the Ask the Doc questions, but it was great for me. So I
appreciate you.
I appreciate everything that you brought to the table today. We always talk about maybe a joke here or two, maybe something.
I had someone send me a wise thing saying it was a young man trying to ask his dad about ladies, about learning how to.
Is this the birds? This is birds and the bees thing?
That's not a birds and the bees thing. But anyway, the father thought about it for a minute. He said, "Well, son, when you can figure out why a round pizza is put into a square box and served in triangles, then you can understand ladies."
Served in triangles. Mystery of life. The mystery of life.
There you go, right there. So.
Oh, what else is going on? Anything in your life?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
You doing good?
Doing
well?
Doing good.
Good. All right. Well, we always like to finish up with a little humor here. I tell you what, we were around the board today, and it was very. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We covered some ground today, and I got a lot of my questions answered. But anyway, we appreciate Dr. Tidman being here today, substituting for our regular Ask the Doc panelist, Dr. William Whaley, who will be back with us next week. Again, we want to thank the North Georgia Cancer Research Center associated with Northside Hospital. You gave a shout out to the new Northside Hospital a little bit earlier, didn't you?
Yeah.
They
I'm
down
impressed
in
with what they're doing. So
yeah, great facility. Put out they delivered 150 babies last month. Holy cow! That must be something in the water in Canton, huh? Anyway, we thank Dr. Tidman again, and when we come back from this break, we're going to have the All-Star panel. We're going to have Bruce back from a little hiatus, little visit to the left coast. I don't know if he's been sanitized, but we'll talk about that, or desensitized. But and Cindy will be with us this morning, substituting in for Jane. So stick around. We'll talk about a few things that happened last night on the debate, and we didn't have much going on this week. Maybe. All righty. Take us a break, Lonnie.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in J next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in J next to Walmart.
Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
We are back. Glad to be here this morning. I am RFG substituting for BKP, who was over in Western Pennsylvania. He'll be back Monday on the show. Good morning from the office. We are in downtown, beautiful downtown Blue Ridge this morning. If anybody's not been here and watching the show, we've got a quaint little community up here, a destination community. We're coming into the what I think in my mind is the best season of all up here, and that's fall. Leaves will be changing. Football is being played. There'll be a little crispness in the air. All the orchards are getting ready to bring their apples out. We'll do apple festivals up in Gilmer. Mercier Orchard's a great spot to visit. But we got some other fish to fry this morning, and that is welcoming Bruce back from California. He spent some time out there with some close friends of ours, and Cindy, Good to see you again. Actually, I see her every day. Jane is gone with Bill. They're just finishing up their little jaunt through Italy, through Tuscany. They will be back. Delighted to have you both here. How was your trip?
Great.
Good.
California weather was fantastic. We had an excellent time with Howard and Judy, who you know well from high school.
As California residents out there, what is their take on all of the Gavin Newsom executive orders, new laws that he's passing, sanctuary cities, homeless people, needles in the street?
Well, yeah, they're not your typical California liberals. The little tinges there, but
well, that's why I was wondering.
They're certainly more conservative, but they just shake their head and roll their eyes. They just can't believe some of the stuff that comes out of the state government, the San Francisco government. That it's just ludicrous. Some of the things that they decide they need to spend their time on. And I mean, admittedly, they have problems with homeless, and they get into this great debate with the psychologists, about like the homeless. He said, well, you got to treat them. Well, there's no places to treat them, so they just keep them out there, and it's become such a problem that I think it's going to eventually perhaps change some people's mind on who they vote for, but how they deal with it, it's going to be day to day, put out fires and go from there. So it's a mess. And we didn't go into the city. We were going to go one last weekend, but we opted not to. So didn't really even get in the city. Just went in across the Bay Bridge twice, going one way and coming back, and just dealt with all that miserable traffic. It was horrible.
I think there is some backlash though right now at Gavin Newsom for sure. The problem is that he's got such a strong corrupt political background. How anybody's going to get him or whoever follows him out of there?
You talking about all those families that are controlling California?
Pelosi and Newsom and
Feinstein,
and everything that's gone on out there. I mean, I made a comment one time when I was out there to my daughter to please not vote for him in the last election.
Yeah.
I said, just do me one favor. Two people don't vote for Feinstein and Newsom. Otherwise, actually, I tried to take her absentee ballot and fill it out for her, and she wouldn't let me do it this time. I've done it once before, but she wouldn't let me do it this time.
And that's one of the weird things in California, and starting to spread. The Dems are really pushing ballot harvesting. You can have someone else pick your ballot up for you,
right,
and take it in. And you talk about just open the door to fraud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I said those two people, and she had a friend there, and she said, "Oh, everybody loves Gavin Newsom." Why?
Yeah,
he's on his second trophy wife.
But he's destroying the state. Well, the state was pretty destroyed anyway. But he just comes in and keeps picking and tearing, and it's gotten awful, much worse. When I was out there, when Trump was elected in 2016, you didn't see the homelessness out there. You really didn't. I was in L.A. My daughter lives very close to the Grove, for anybody who knows the California area. And it was, I'd get out there and walk to the Grove and walk to the Beverly Center. Southern California. Yeah. Walk to all those places. Now, you almost don't want to walk to those places because all you do is pass homelessness after homelessness after homelessness. It's scary.
Do you think the homeless could be all the liberals that couldn't afford to move to Canada?
That could be. I'm not sure what they are, but let me tell you.
Moved out to
but
the
it's
street.
Growing.
I want to find Rosie's tent.
It's growing.
Well, it's interesting because one of the reasons we went out there was to do some visits to wineries, and as some people may know, a lot of people probably don't, that Plumpjack and Cade are two big wine names in California. And by the way, they're owned by Gavin Newsom's family.
Really?
Yeah, and he has his own winery called Odette. So I told Howard, I said, wherever we go, we're not drinking any Odette, and we're not buying any Odette.
There you go. Good.
I did my little thing against
Gavin.
There's
our personal attack, not attack. Anyway.
Our personal opinions.
Yeah, personal opinions
on what's going on in California.
Speaking of personal opinions, we had a debate last night, or an attempt at a debate by the 10 candidates that qualified under the new Democratic rules. It seemed like they're changing by the day to accommodate whoever they want to have in the debate. Any thoughts on that? I know you were coming home last night. You didn't see the first part of it.
Right.
In my opinion, you didn't miss much. I think that's part that I slept through, right?
You did? Yep. Yes, you did.
Lonnie liked that.
Trade secrets.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Overall take. Any winners, losers?
There'll be some at the end, but the overall take is that we have 10 angry people who, and the angriest in the opening statements was Kamala Harris, who literally lambasted Trump. She opened her entire debate with, "Mr. Trump, and I know you're watching," which later Twitter came back and said, no, he's actually not watching. He's doing a speech somewhere on the East Coast. He wasn't watching the debate.
But I'm taping it.
Just another one of her lies. But I know you're watching, and let me tell you, and she just absolutely hateful. If you could have seen the look on her face.
Well, the way she looks at the camera and the way she phrases things, I mean, it's like really,
but her rhetoric
oily.
Was ugly. It was insulting. It made your blood boil, actually. But what's so interesting, it's exactly the same way that she went off after Brett Kavanaugh during the Kavanaugh hearings. She lied. The things she said about Trump, 9 out of 10 of the things she said were lies. She's angry. She's emotional. And then all through the debate, she's one of those people, along with a few others, but especially her, who wants to tell you her story as a child.
They all did that, though. They all, Julian Castro talked about his, Buttigieg talked about his.
Yeah, what we went through as children, but she's always a victim.
Andrew Yang.
Yeah, but she's always the victim. As evidently a child of color growing up, which is the way she refers to her. Not necessarily a child of color, but she knows what racism is.
She used the black woman.
Yeah.
And she knows.
When in fact, she is
yes,
from a Indian mother and a Jamaican father.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Just for the
They're
record.
They're calling a Jamaican guy black, though.
Just for the record, yeah.
Right.
There's a great debate about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same as Obama having a black father and a white mother.
Yeah.
But the white mother was never acknowledged.
Yeah.
Everything about him was black. Well, no, it wasn't.
Partially.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you used the word emotional with her, and I'm glad as a woman you said that, because if either of us said that with her...
I know, right?
She is. And that's part of her problem.
You'd be attacking women.
Yeah. She is so angry all the time, and when someone doesn't agree with her, you could tell that, just like when she went after Joe Biden in that first debate, she had the whole thing planned. Mm-hmm. It was sitting there, no matter what they would have asked her, that would have been her answer. Yeah. And her opening statement, I don't know how long she sat and worked on that opening statement, but boy, she was going to get Trump this time.
To me, the guy that always seems angry is that little Bernie Sanders, where he gets down into the microphone and
yeah, but he was angry last night.
Oh,
He'd turn and point at people, and it's like he's like the mad professor. His hair is wild. he's stuttering. His mouth makes these. I mean, he's an.
Then you have Elizabeth Warren, like the wild third grade teacher.
Oh, she is. Elizabeth Warren is.
I mean, that's just such a great moniker for her, because she does. She seems like she wears a little sweaters, and she's always pushing up the sweater, and it's like your third grade teacher.
Right. It's somebody wound her up.
Wailing her arms.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, along with Francis. I don't call him Beto anymore because he's not Beto. His name is Francis. And
Robert.
Beto, who's armed. His arm is up here like he's riding a bucking bronco all the time.
They're all taking after Bernie, because Bernie's always going.
Yeah, but I mean, Beto came out on the stage, and they're all standing out on the stage, smiling and all ready for the debate, and he's waving, and it's like he's like a little kid. This group of people up there. It really, I mean, Twitter was, of course, needless to say, lit up last night. But I mean, and the comments, while not being ugly about people, I mean, the comments were really to the point where everybody was saying, "What's wrong with these people?"
There was an overriding theme, a couple of themes within the debate. One of which dealt with healthcare, and everybody's plan on how they're going to solve healthcare, and they were all. Well, I won't. your take on the health care?
Well, the health care, all of them are at some point basically in on the Medicare for all, but it's whether we're going to let you still have your own private insurance or not have your own private insurance. And that was the big starting point. And Bernie is Medicare for all, Medicare for all, Medicare for all, and he won't acknowledge. Every person on the stage basically turned at Bernie and said, including the people that originally were with him on the health care for all, and they all kept saying, basically, how are we going to afford this without, giving people their own private plans if they want their and they sounded a little bit like 12 years ago with Obama being, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your health care, you can keep your health care.
If you like your plan, you can keep your plan.
And they're all saying that. Yeah. And they all, during that health care, it's very interesting. I don't know if this was planned or whatever, but almost to a person, they all thanked Barack Obama for his wonderful health care plan.
I think the winner of the debate in absentia was Obama.
Well,
because they all were singing his praises, and the first time, if you remember, Kamala Harris was blasting him.
Right.
But last night with Kamala Harris, it was like a love fest again with Obama.
She thanked him. Well, he's one of her big supporters, and he hasn't come out.
Black supporting black.
Exactly. But remember, she was the most beautiful AG.
Oh yeah,
in the entire country.
Boy, that got Michelle Michael really in a knot.
What was her full name?
But the amazing thing is that they all were, praising Obama for the ACA, and they didn't call it Obamacare. They basically called it the ACA,
the Affordable Care Act.
He meant
actually PPACA, Patient Protection.
Yeah, but he meant to have everybody insured. That was his meaning, even though that Obamacare has been a failure and all the things he said about costs going down have skyrocketed and everything else about it, he meant well.
Yeah, that was a bait and switch, though. I mean, just like the Green Deal is a bait and switch. I mean, he did that as a bridge to Medicare for all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what they were all praising him about. And then, of course, Joaquin Castro went after Joe Biden. Because
Julian Castro.
Oh, Julian. Yeah. It's Julian. Yeah, Joaquin's his
brother.
Yeah, his brother.
The one with the beard.
Castro. Anyway, he was at the end. But he went after Joe Biden because he was explaining to Joe, which everybody who watched the debate knows that, he was explaining to Joe Biden that his plan would give you options. That you didn't have to opt in
versus automatic.
Right, versus automatic. And then he blasted Joe Biden, but saying, "You just said that your plan you had to opt in." Well, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. You can't remember. And he went after his
forgot
memory.
something you said 2 minutes
Exactly.
ago. He's attacking Joe's memory.
Yeah, two things stuck out in my mind, and one of them was Biden. Biden's still going to come out on top with this because really no one really just made it to the moon. If you listen to Biden cannot complete a thought. He will stop midstream and go back and look at it. I'm not picking on him. I'm telling you what the facts are.
Or he'll say something and go, I shouldn't have said that.
I shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Or I misspoke. And we all misspeak at times, but, he'll go back and he'll say, and he'll put a different word in there. He cannot complete a cogent thought and deliver it like he used to be able to.
He looks like just a nice guy standing up there trying to defend himself. And that's what he reminded me of. And he was trying to be very forceful last night. He was really trying to come, now my plan this and my plan that.
He did sound forceful in the first few minutes.
He did.
The other thing that stuck out in my mind, I said there were two, was, and I would never vote for her, but Amy Klobuchar was the only one that really understood that if we do Medicare for all, and she brought this out, it will eliminate
140 million
thousands of jobs.
I thought she said
everything they talk about is going to eliminate jobs.
Well, that's true.
Expand all the other things they talk about. It's all going to eliminate jobs.
Yeah.
And
But
again,
then,
they're all talking points.
Right.
And none of them are going to happen.
no.
Right.
And then you've got Pete Buttigieg, who tries to be Mr. Nicey. I don't know how many of you ever watched Howdy Doody. You'd have to be my age.
Mr. Rogers.
But truly, he reminds me of Howdy Doody. I mean, he really does. If you
I
puffed up
believe
his
you went
cheeks,
there.
he would be there. But he was the one that tried to talk about it. And then one of them, and I don't remember who it was, said, we need to be more civil. This is what people watching us need to think we're going to be more civil. And I thought, but you're not. They're not.
Well, my sort of takeaways on what I saw, and again, like 2/3 of it, but I mean, it reminded me of the Republicans back in 2016, the lead up, that you had all these people on stage, trying to make themselves memorable, and they know the media wants a sound bite or a statement that they can use for the next week.
Right.
And they're trying so hard to do that, and it was just overkill. And with 10 of them, every time somebody started speaking, it was like kindergarten. You see 3 hands go up.
Their hands, yes, they were all that's exactly right. It was so funny to watch those hands going up.
The 4 candidates, 2 at each end, were the ones that were struggling the most because they didn't get the airtime, and they were trying so hard when they did get called on to be relevant. And again, like you said, get that zinger in, get that soundbite in that everybody will remember and everybody will talk about.
I think Castro particularly was trying to do
exactly.
But
and
they
I
didn't
think
answer
he
the
failed
questions half the
miserably.
time.
He never answered any questions.
No.
I mean, that's the game of these multi-person debates.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer the
No,
question.
all they do is wait for them to get called on. The moderators ask them a question, and then they answer what they want the people to hear.
One of the things that the pundits were all universally the same on was Castro not answering one question. All he did was run his mouth about something else. And
well, my other takeaway, I agree with that, and I'll come back to this in a minute. But and I agree with you, and I think some other people said that Obama won, because
in absentia.
Everybody else, kind of. But they also said Trump won. Because it just showed the unelectability of all these.
Trump and Obama were the 2 winners.
Yeah.
Clearly, in my mind, that was going to be my close. Yeah.
And Doug Schoen, you probably read the same article, said that Warren and Biden probably, just sort of held their own.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed for either of them.
Right. So. Exactly.
Elizabeth Warren, though, she just spouts and spouts, and she sounds so hypocritical because she talks about working her way to the top. Yes, after she had lied and lied and lied about her heritage and was given all these opportunities because of her lies to get to where she is today. She talks about, poverty and these people that are doing that. She's a millionaire.
Pregnant without a job.
Exactly.
So I decided to go to law school.
Right. So I decided to go to law school and tell them that I was, half Indian. And thus they moved me into law school much easier. And thus I was able to get a job after law school.
Yeah.
She tells these stories, and I listen to her and I think, lady, you lied your way into. She and Kamala Harris both. Kamala Harris lied her way right up the ladder.
Lied a few other things.
Lied and other things. I was going to leave that behind, but she lied her way up the ladder. Elizabeth Warren lied her way up the ladder. I'm sorry that Tulsi Gabbard wasn't on there because last debate she was the one that actually spoke the most sensibly about anything.
Tulsi Gabbard came out of that debate, and she was the one that was deemed relevant at that time.
Exactly, she talked about relevant things.
Well, just cycling back to Julian Castro, I mean, I saw something this morning with what's the guy on business, Charles Payne.
Yeah.
And he was talking about racism and all this sort of stuff. I mean, as a black man, in his community and things like that.
And let me tell you, that guy grew up poor.
Yeah, and he referenced some of the things in his childhood, and he said even today, the 90% of the kids arrested for drug possession and things like that are black and Hispanic. He said, no one's talking about that, but he said Julian Castro, in his opinion, he thinks he's maybe the attack dog for Obama because he was in the administration and going after Biden the way it is, so that Kamala Harris might come out. He said he's just being real angry and vicious.
Yeah, that triangle seems.
Yeah. And he really picked on him and said, he's really just being rude, vicious, and deliberately trying to just say things that are incite Biden to either respond or collapse.
Even though
implode.
Biden is sticking with the story that I stick with the 8 years that we were in the administration, and everything that we did with Obama was right on point.
I'm so glad you said that, because after he lied through his teeth he said the immigration came up. Were you there when they were talking about immigration?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm so proud of the fact that our administration, Obama and I, never separated families or put kids in cages. And I had to lean forward, because if any of you saw the 2014 newspaper article that somebody tried to pass off as under the Trump administration when it was in 2014, and the pictures of kids in cages, trying to say that was Trump when it wasn't, it was the Obama administration. It was under the Obama administration that families started being separated and children started being put in cages. And it's ugly to say it that way, because I don't think they were doing it because they were trying to say anything bad about it. That's how it was being handled at that point. But it was under the Obama administration that happened.
In the cages, you have to, sometimes they're like a really tight shot of a kid behind a chain link fence. And it's in an area as big as we're sitting in.
Yeah.
It's got a chain link fence.
And then all of a sudden it becomes a dog kennel.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but when he said, we never did that. Now, how a person can stand in front of however many millions, and probably not as many as they'd like, watching that show and saying that, obviously they think we're all
stupid,
uneducated, ignorant, and don't know when all of that started. It didn't start under the Trump administration. Trump merely is following the laws that he inherited when he came into office. Obama is the one that started separating families, and Trump's the one that gets the blame.
What about
that just amazed me.
Well, the statements I think are aimed at the independents who are still on the fence. They're
of
trying
course,
to get them to
Trump is going to keep his base.
Yeah, demonize Trump and I'm a better person.
Right, and they're all trying to say how Trump is bad and how they're going to be able. They are the one candidate who will be able to go in and defeat Trump.
Right.
Beto O'Rourke last night.
Francis.
Just absolutely. I don't know how if he doesn't understand the Second Amendment, doesn't understand the Fourth Amendment, when he comes right out bold-faced and says, we will come and take your AR-15s.
And AK-47s.
AK-47s. This guy, I'm telling you, and the moniker of the mantra of the day 2 days ago was weapons of war.
Oh, yes.
If you heard weapons of war once, you heard it 50 times on the fake news mainstream media. Mm-hmm. That was their talking point, weapons of war. They know what weapons of war are compared to a store-bought AR, stands for assault-type rifle, semi-automatic, than the man in the moon.
They do that with every subject. They start talking about climate change. They don't know, methane from carbon dioxide. I mean, they.
And how long have we been told? In the 1920s, there was a huge push because we only had how many years left to live because of climate, and so on. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how they can, stir up things that have come through the ages, stirring up things.
Well, because people who watch mass media news, that is their source of information in the world. I mean, some of them may Google things and fact check things, but a lot of them just go, "Hey, what? You name the national broadcaster. He said it, so it's got to be true."
Right.
And they go with that.
No one. I mean, there aren't enough people out there that challenge some of the things that are being said. We've said this 100 times on the show, and I'm going to say it 101st time. We all got our news a long time ago from 3 sources.
Right. Yep.
NBC, ABC, and CBS. And we accepted what those Edward R. Murrows and the Huntley and Brinkley were saying as just, oh my gosh, that must be true because they said it.
Walter Cronkite.
Well, they actually reported news back then.
Yeah.
They actually reported.
As opposed to an opinion show.
Yeah. It's all bias. It's all opinion on those networks. It's just amazing how little. I mean, when you ask somebody Have you ever heard of the Steele dossier and they say no?
Mueller.
Have you ever heard of Fusion GPS? No.
Come on.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah.
that happen? I mean, if you even get on the internet, you've got to see something. But I've asked some very intelligent people that question, and they've answered no.
And
So what's the debate schedule now? How many more of these do we have
I'm
to
not
suffer
sure.
through?
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
One thing that ABC needs to do, though,
5 more?
if ABC, if I were Pete Buttigieg, I would ask ABC, please don't put me in that same camera angle with Bernie. You look at that, and it's like Bernie's little puppet that came along with him.
You think if they were fair, they'd put Biden and Warren at the ends. You don't put those other people in the middle of this one.
They're the ones that are scrambling.
And
Brian and I talked about that this morning. That picture of Buttigieg and Bernie next to him.
And Bernie's always angry, so.
One thing I'd like to see, though, and it'll probably never happen, is to have ABC, NBC, whatever, and maybe when we get to the presidential debates, it might, but to have someone from Fox or someone from, other people there to ask questions on follow-up.
The DNC wouldn't allow Fox to save their life this time.
Okay,
No.
but I mean,
Yeah.
they ask these questions, and then the candidates give their response, whether it's responding to the question or whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
But then there's no follow-up.
Well, that's what they were criticizing George Stephanopoulos, right? Wasn't he on?
Yeah, he
about
was.
the fact that he let these people answer, and if their answers were really wonky, he would not follow up
He
with
wouldn't do
anything.
a follow-up.
Well, then you'd see like 5 hands go up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Vice President Biden, you get a chance to respond.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting once they do the the recap and say how many minutes did this person get? How many?
Right.
I'm really dying to know that because
And when did they do the cut down from 10 to 6?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find all that out for you, folks, and deliver it to you. But I thought it was relevant in this first segment that we did to cover the debate. But there is so much more in the news that happened this week. Notwithstanding that Bolton got fired, McCabe is going to go to jail.
We hope.
We've got what else? We've got climate change. We've got Bolton fired. Pompeo, maybe dual roles. I doubt it. Provoked by what is the Libyan model? The gun control debate. Emotion over intellect. Vaping.
Vaping, that's been
Vaping in the
interesting.
news.
Yeah.
Right.
California passes a bill to allow fair pay for college athletes. I'm telling you, that's going to be a huge deal with the NC2A. We got a lot to talk about in the second segment. I'm glad Bruce is back safely. I'm glad you're here today substituting for Jane. I'm Rick substituting for BKP. So we got a bunch of substitutes here, but we got a couple of regulars, don't we? Anyway, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to get off the debate and we're going to go to some of these other things in the news that I highlighted just now. Take us to break, Lonnie.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hey, good to go. We are back. Took a little break there. We covered the we beat a dead horse basically on that debate, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't think we could wring anything more out of that. I do want to see the times associated with the candidates. You can see where the media is going and who they're trying to push to the front. But we got, we try to be everything for everybody on this show. We cover a little sports. You know what we've never had really a fashion statement. Just kind of a fashion segment. And since Cindy does a lot of shopping.
I like shopping.
She likes shopping. She's a clothes horse. She's constantly, every day the Amazon boxes are coming to the house. So, I wanted to maybe see if she wanted to do a little fashion statement. Do you have anything for us?
I do. I just happened to get an email.
Oh, she just happened to have something
I just
here.
happened to have something. I got a little email the other day that I have to say I laughed out loud when I got this email, and I just thought,
LOL.
right. I just thought maybe I'd share this with you.
Lonnie, are you able to read
Well,
that to us?
Just going to read it to you, just for those of you who would like to know. It says, I'm not blasting Hillary for giving a speech about inequality while wearing a $12,500 Armani jacket.
That's Hillary Clinton.
That's Hillary Clinton. Yeah, you'll know that when you see the picture. I'm posting this to congratulate Armani for selling a potato sack with sleeves for $12,500, which in this case holds about 200 pounds of fertilizer. So I'm thinking that, Hillary's jackets, she really needs to improve the look.
That was
That's
our
my
fashion segment,
for
folks.
today.
Oh, baby.
That's your fashion segment, huh?
My fashion segment
Okay,
for
well,
today.
I think maybe what we ought to do is maybe we ought to just kind of cut the fashion segment here if we're going to go there. But it was I had to look at that, and I did. I laughed out loud when I saw that. So whoever sent that, kudos. I think I know who sent it, but I'm not gonna say that name. But anyway, we what else is going on? McCabe. Were you surprised that came out yesterday with that ruling?
All I know is the DOJ basically said he can't hide behind something, so he's
He basically went to
to prosecution.
He basically went to the courts and he said, hey, I'm a good guy, and I did this and I did that, but I've been in the FBI and I'm a public servant. I should be immune.
He wanted to be immune from all federal prosecution.
That's correct.
He thought that he shouldn't, and he went to the highest courts he could
More succinctly
with his
put.
attorneys, and the highest court said, nope, you have gone against the FBI, you've done this, you've done that, and we're not exempting you from federal prosecution.
Possible.
Then some big CNN attorney came out and said, well, he was going to defend him. But interestingly enough, people at CNN came out livid and said, oh no, he doesn't deserve to be defended against those charges.
Well, the other thing that they're livid about is the fact that he was hired to be on the show. He's one of the pundits. He's one of the Obama holdovers, like Shudo, and I can't remember all the names, but they're all saying, you know what? I don't know how we're going to defend this guy.
McCabe is a paid CNN.
Paid CNN pundit, with Clapper and Shudo that just shot his mouth off about the Russian thing the other day and was totally wrong. More fake news.
Maybe venture into a prison segment with all these guys, Brendan, Clapper, McCabe, all in prison.
Well, what's your thought? I mean,
I like the orange guys.
No one wants to see anybody go to jail, but all we want to do is just see equal justice under the law. Some of these people are getting away with
murder,
literally and figuratively,
right.
And we don't do anything about it. But you take a guy like General Flynn,
yes,
and that was basically hoodwinked into using less than candor or whatever they say.
Even though the DOJ, the people who interviewed him
admits
said,
to lying.
Yeah, but the people who interviewed him said he didn't lie. However, Mueller and his team were able to make him say things that then they considered enough.
Andrew, what's his name?
Well, yes.
What's that attorney's name?
Andrew Weinberg.
Weissman.
Yeah.
So will McCabe go down? I don't know. I think he'll be tried. Will he serve time? I don't know. Will he be under house arrest? Will he be wearing an ankle bracelet? What I'm hopeful of is that we really get down into the meat of the dossier, the Steele dossier, the FISA warrants. I'm really looking forward to.
Well, we need that first marble to fall, and if he's the one, if it happens, if there's if the courts indict him or whatever else, then there have to be other indictments that go along with it, and he may be the start of it. I don't know, but we do know that things are hopefully starting to roll.
Yeah,
we hope.
Yeah,
but
John Bolton.
Yeah, I just saw that he got fired. I wasn't quite sure, for cause or reason or was given, or just that
Well,
he's at loggerheads with Pompeo and Trump.
Trump.
Well,
Not so
okay.
much Pompeo as Trump.
But I thought, I thought Trump knew, his track record when he brought him on board. So.
Brian and when I took Brian down yesterday, he and I had a long time to chat, and I'm really of the mind that Trump purposely brings people around him that will give him all of the opinions, not just yes men or yes women that say, yes, Mr. Trump, you're right. He wants someone to give all the opinions, whether he agrees with them or not. And that's why he brought, Bolton, I believe, is a deep state warmongering guy who wants to make sure that he's paying homage to all the munitions factories. He wants to keep turmoil going. So what he did is he talked about the Libyan model as to how we get North Korea to disarm. So the Libyan model to the North Koreans, to the head of North Korea, was a scare tactic. The little leader over there doesn't want to see himself dragged through the streets of North Korea like Omar Gaddafi was and killed. And that's basically what the Libyan model was. He thought he was going to get a lot of economic help for disarming. Granted, he disarmed, thought he was going to get a lot of economic help, Gaddafi, and it never really came. And then the Arab Spring happened, and then there was blood in the streets, and eventually he was killed and taken down. That's what John Bolton refers to as the Libyan model, and he said, maybe we ought to offer the Libyan model to North Korea, and that just set off a firestorm. But I guess we are back on track. We are going to have another meeting with the North Koreans about disarmament, and I think it was supposed to happen within about 30 days or so. I believe. I'm not.
Yeah, and I find it interesting. All the media and the pundits, of course, saying, why is Trump, playing up to this little dictator and all that. And Xi Jinping and all the other people he's talking to, Iran. At least he is engaging
exactly
on a regular basis with all these outfits. And before, it'd be months. They wouldn't even be in the news.
They wouldn't even. Well, that was Bolton's MO. He would say, "You're the president. They should not be allowed to have an audience with you."
Well, I go back even farther than Bolton. I go back into the former administration.
Yeah.
Obama.
Right.
Like he was AWOL with a lot of these issues.
Right.
He never got engaged.
He wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu.
Well, he didn't like that now. Yeah. That was,
But, all these other ones, though, I think, at least there is some sort of engagement. There's discussions, and, there's been some forward progress in them.
Well, obviously, these people have not heard about the old adage about, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
And obviously Trump has done that, and as a result, we've got, I think he's got a hold of things. Now, some people may not, but I think he does.
Well, again, there's not instant solution to these things. Negotiating with all these countries, all the issues on the table between them and us, it's just not an overnight sensation. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
And he could still be working on these well into his next administration.
Tucker Carlson had something, changing gears a little bit. Tucker Carlson had something on a couple of nights ago talking about going back to some of the things revolving around 9/11. There's been an ongoing lawsuit against the Saudis by several of the families, and they're trying to identify 11 Saudi people that were acting as helpers to pull this whole thing off.
So aiding and abetting the 19 terrorists who...
Right. The Obama administration sealed those names.
Oh.
They did it for a specific reason, because they needed support for the Iranian deal when they gave them how many millions of dollars from the Saudis. So in exchange for sealing those, they got Saudi support to say that yes, it is okay what you did, and you've got the arms agreement with Iran. Okay, you follow me?
I didn't know that connection was
Yeah,
there.
that is what people say was the cause that the Obama administration won't release these names that are necessary for the lawsuit to go through. Well, fast forward to the Trump administration and the new Department of Justice head, and now they are in negotiations to release those names
Oh boy.
of the Saudis, and that lawsuit potentially will go through. It was a really good piece that, and I can't remember the name of the attorney. A friend of mine, Ross, sent me a lot of good information about that. Klein Deist or something like that. If you look up, if you Google 9/11 Tucker Carlson lawsuit, it'll come up. It's a great piece, and I think that's going to be coming to the forefront. Let's see. We've got a few more minutes here. We've got. Let's go back to the 9/11 and talk about that piece that was shown. And I know you haven't had a chance to see it yet. I hope possibly, Lonnie, is there any way that we can post that piece, that MP4 piece, on the Fetch Your News homepage? Can we put that up, or anyway? You can go to YouTube and watch this segment again, and check out the opening if you haven't seen it. But it really shows how we went in 2001 from a unified country where everybody was proud of the flag and everybody came together. We wanted safe borders. We wanted protection from illegals.
Well, we called them Islamic terrorists. We did a lot of that kind of thing.
And we have evolved over the last 18 years, 2001 to 2019, to a country where I said earlier, you can't even wear a flag on a shirt at a baseball game anymore without being humiliated, chastised. You know, Nike comes out with the Betsy Ross shoe, and that's a trigger. Oh my gosh. Where Obama has the same flag at his coronation. That was the backdrop of Obama's coronation, and he called it a coronation.
Coronation.
Yeah. But anyway, if you got any thoughts on that, I think
my
you do.
thoughts on that is the New York Times got into a little bit of trouble after
imagine that.
After when they were tweeting about what happened on 9/11, and their original tweet was, 18 years have passed since airplanes took aim and brought down the World Trade Center.
Airplanes took aim.
Today, families will once again gather and grieve at the site where more than 2,000 people died. Let me
So
tell
airplanes
you.
are like guns now?
Well, exactly.
They got a mind of their
Or
own.
Let me tell
SUVs?
you,
They got a mind of their own.
they got blasted when they made that statement.
As they should.
18 years after nearly 3,000 people were lost and families were killed, they then came back and redid it, but they had to be publicly shamed. Is what most people said when they came back against them, to tell what really happened. That some planes did some things. Does that sound familiar? Some people did something.
Representative Omar?
Some people, some planes, and they got blasted about the fact that it wasn't planes, it was Islamic terrorists that killed these people, that hit these. They flew the planes that hit these buildings.
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to say, and it was a huge, big thing. They had to delete that post. Accidentally, said they accidentally, they said that accidentally. They didn't mean to. But just 2 days before that, the Times had to delete a post that praised communist Mao Zedong, I don't know how
Mao
you say it,
Zedong. Mao.
whose policies led to the deaths of some 45 million people. The Times posted a thing that said Mao Mao, whatever, died on this day in 1976. The Times said he began as an obscure peasant and died one of history's great revolutionary figures. Well, they had to delete that. And they said, we deleted a previous tweet about Mao that lacked critical historical content. So the Times was thoroughly ripped for their mistakes, which noticeably all take place kind of going in one direction. So while planes took down those buildings and some people did something, what direction does that tell you that the thing that you had up at the beginning, that great video, exactly what the girl was saying? You know, we all said after 9/11, we'll never forget.
Well, we have.
Well, we've forgotten how a tragedy like that brought this country together, and we all were in the same vibe about protecting this country and making it safe and flying the American flag, and now you've got flags burning in the streets. We didn't forget, and unfortunately we've got people in Congress who continue to try to make us forget. And actually, AOC on the day of 9/11 told a bunch of people that it was hurtful to Ilhan Omar to have these celebrations or have these remembrances because people took it out on her.
No.
Now,
so I think you should, change never forget to always remember.
Yeah,
exactly.
Always remember.
Yeah.
Well, I see the star of the show has shown up. We've got Rena here, and of course we've got our segment with Jesse Barton. So why don't we go to winners and losers, and we'll
ladies first.
Yeah.
My loser would be ABC, and the debacle that they carried last night. My winner is actually Tom Homan, who's the former ICE head under Obama, by the way, who was at a subcommittee where he stated the facts of what's happening at the border. And Deborah Wasserman Schultz said, I think it's important to make sure that the jingoistic, bigoted testimony of Mr. Homan is called out as nearly completely untrue, as being an outrage, and as a former official directing the Immigration and Customs Agency, he should know better, she said. And he came back on her and said, what did I say that was inaccurate? And he said, I've forgotten more about this issue than you'll ever know. Everything I've said here is accurate, and if you want to go toe-to-toe with me, I'm here. Take me on anytime. So Tom Homan, who tried to tell the truth at a hearing and was called out by Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz.
Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz. Good piece. Go ahead, Bruce.
My winner was tied into 9/11. This fella who lost his mother in the attack, Nicholas Harris Jr.
Nicholas Harris Jr.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Who basically said, okay, this is what happened. We were attacked. 19 Islamic terrorists killed over 3,000 people and did billions of dollars of damage. Is that clear? You got that now?
He said, I loved it when he said, you got that now?
Honoring these people. And my loser is, just coming back from San Francisco. The San Francisco City Council just passed a resolution deeming the NRA a domestic terrorist organization. So all you NRA members out there, over 5 million of you, and your family and your kids and all that, you're all domestic terrorists. Amazing.
That's good. My winner of the week is going to be the EPA Administrator, Andrew Wheeler. He announced a decision at an event in D.C. on Thursday following years of controversy surrounding the issue. He said conservatives have criticized the rule for its expansion under the Obama administration, the definition of navigable water subject to the regulation. Step 1 action fulfills a key promise of President Trump and sets the stage for Step 2, a new WOTUS definition that will provide greater regulatory certainty for farmers, landowners, homeowners, home builders, and developers worldwide. Hats off to Administrator Andrew Wheeler and the EPA. And my winner of the week is going to be Trump again. My other winner of the week is going to be Trump for appointing now 150 judges, 2 on the Supreme Court. He is reshaping the rule of law. And keep in mind, everybody on the Democrat side said he's doing it to make it Republican favorable. He's not. He said originally he was going to appoint judges regardless of their party affiliation. He was going to appoint judges that support and defend and administer the rule of law, and that's what he's doing. So, great panel discussion today. Good to have you back, Bruce. Thank you for coming, substituting for Jane. You're great. You can be on the All-Star panel anytime. And we've got 2 more segments coming up. We've got Jesse Barton coming in, and then we've got the All-Star. We got the All-Star Pet of the Week. Rena's here. So, Lonnie, take us to break, and we'll be back.
It's not Rena.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ella next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ella next to Walmart.
Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ella, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Hey, we are back. Glad to have Jesse here today, and I want to make sure I get this correct. North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, Community Relations Director, Cameron Hall, Ella.
That's a mouthful.
How'd I do?
Perfect.
I cheated though. Brian sent it to me. It's so important. I didn't want to screw it up.
No
so.
worries. You can even just call me whatever. Well, whatever, but
I'm going to call you a community relations director, Jesse Barton. How's that?
that works.
What are we going to talk about today?
So I had an interesting week.
Okay.
So one of the things that I do in my role is I work with families who are thinking about moving their loved ones in, but then I've also got a piece in that community relations that's outreach. So about 4 years ago, I was doing a capstone project in my gerontology class. I had a really good friend with Gwinnett PD, and we were talking about what do we do when somebody goes missing? What do we do when there's a Maddie's call? So that kind of spurred a project in which I talked about how important training is for public safety and law enforcement about how do you handle people with dementia?
At-risk seniors.
At-risk seniors, especially with dementia, that's considered a disability. So that kind of led into me training public safety personnel on how to approach dementia patients when you're responding to a call. How do you handle them? How do you quickly make an assessment? And then it's funny how things lead to one another, because now it led to, I took a class this week. So, at-risk adults, anybody 18 and over, not specifically seniors, but we do tend to think of seniors because there's an elder abuse component to it.
Right.
So I have sat for 2 days and learned all about elder abuse, financial exploitation, physical abuse.
The fake calls that maybe come over the telephone that they're subject to.
The scams that can actually fall under racketeering now. There was a change in the Georgia statute. So it was interesting to see how vulnerable these people are and how often it goes unnoticed.
The piece that you talked about law enforcement, it would be interesting to see how many law enforcement agencies really have that component, because I can see where it would come about if they encounter a patient with dementia.
Right.
The first reaction is, this person's not acting rational. Does he have a gun? Does he have a knife? Does she have a gun? Are they coming after me?
Sure.
Do they want an officer involved shooting? So they've got
a split second to protect themselves.
Exactly.
And we want to protect our law enforcement. We need our law enforcement. So they've got a split second. I actually called several agencies when I was doing my project.
Nice.
Atlanta, Cobb. I even touched in some of our North Georgia areas here. They don't have it.
Crickets.
They don't have Alzheimer's training. It may be covered in an hour of mental health, maybe once a year. The fortunate thing is the Georgia Public Safety Training Center down in near Forsyth, or near Macon in Forsyth, Georgia, has developed a crisis intervention training program. What that does, it covers all kinds of crisis intervention, but they do have an hour now where a representative from the Alzheimer's Association come in and train. So that is where I've started kind of plugging in and being able to reach out to these agencies and go into their crisis intervention team trainings.
Tell us again about the Maddie alert.
So the Maddie's call is actually Georgia specific. States in the U.S. have similar things. They might be a silver alert. They might not have a name, but in Georgia it was based on an incident that happened. A lady went missing.
And her name happened to be Maddie.
Maddie Moore. Very famous case. She went missing, if I have my dates correct, she went missing around Christmas, or she was found in Christmas. Anyway, there was an 8-month span from where she went missing. Her husband was in the home at the time, could not be found, and it was like an 8-month span, and she was found 500 yards away from her house. That's not far.
5 football fields away.
Right.
Probably about a block and a half.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And not that we're saying that the search and rescue wasn't effective. They can get gone quickly. People can move quickly. If I was yelling, Maddie, Maddie, and she's got hallucinations, she's going the opposite direction because somebody's going to get her. So.
Today we've got all of the communication devices we could ever want. I hear stories from my friends about their parents sometimes.
Sure.
When we didn't have the ability to communicate by cell phone, when they're when were they're sorry.
Speaking of cell phones, that was
on cue.
The perfect timing.
That was on cue.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Come on, Brian, leave me alone. He's afraid he's going to lose his job, I think.
Is that Brian calling?
No.
I was going to say, why are you calling?
Anyway, what I was getting to was, we've got all these fancy communication devices now. We didn't have those then.
Sure.
And I talked to parents. I talked to friends whose parents might have gotten in the car and they drove, and they all of a sudden they become disoriented. They don't know where they are.
Right.
They don't have the ability. They might have they might have a mini stroke out there or something like that. These are the at-risk people a lot of times that you're talking about. Is that correct?
These are. And honestly, what ends up happening, one thing that was really focused on are these people who prey on our elderly.
Right.
Maybe they are in a homeless situation, or they don't have family to take care of them, and this person says, hey, you can come live with me, but you need to sign over your check and I'll make sure you're taken care of. And then what happens is these people are put in, we saw some pictures, and it was absolutely deplorable conditions. So just, kind of going on what Brian and I talked about with, medications and community settings. If you've got family, follow up, make sure they're being taken care of. If you've got family taking care of a family member, kind of watch out for that situation, because 90% of elder abuse happens from family. So
90%.
90%.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk to us a little bit about phone scams.
Sure. Phone scams are
again
absolutely
huge. At risk at home. Someone may call, tug at their heartstrings.
They play on the emotions, and the biggest one right now that I want to warn you about. And these are people a lot of times overseas. So it's very hard to get your money back. Once you have sent money away to these people, it can be difficult to get your money back. So the grandparent scheme, they call in, these people have done research online, they found out about this person. They may call in the evenings when there's sundowning happening, so they're not completely logically thinking, and they say, I've got your grandson and he has been in an accident and you need to send $7,000
so that we can give him treatment.
Yes. Or he doesn't go to jail, or
right.
we can give him treatment. And we actually did a case study on one lady who was a little savvy on it, and she said, I don't remember him being on a mission trip. I don't think this is correct. So they were like, oh, okay, we got to take it up a level. They started threatening, well, we can't help what might happen to your grandson if you don't send the money then. They go into threatening these people and coercing them, and what happens is then wires are sent across the seas. So
and bye-bye.
That happened to my uncle. They said that he was in jail, his grandson was in jail, and he had to send $10,000 bail money.
Yes, and these, and a lot of times it'll be like, I had one happen to my friend, and they were playing the grandson's role. Please don't call mom and dad. You were my one call because I trust you.
Folks, this is stuff, folks, this is not isolated to this area.
Mm-mm.
This is happening literally worldwide.
Worldwide.
And it's happening big time in this country. It's happening on a daily basis. We want to just so fervently reach out and make sure that the elderly are being taken care of and that they're not being abused, that monitor if you can the way they spend their money. If you see some irregularity in there,
absolutely.
If you see an irregularity, do something about it. Don't just sit by idly and say, well, they probably, that's their money. They can do what they want. Mm-hmm. They may be taking advantage of. Great segment, Jessie.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. And I'm glad that you take the time to do the education and follow up on that. That's why you are the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall.
I do have to brag. I was super excited.
Come on and brag.
Having friends in public safety. I did get my first little patch, even though I'm not a certified officer. I do have a little patch, so I felt all official.
Giddy up. Georgia Department of Human Services, DSA Certified Specialist, At-Risk Crime Tactics, At-Risk Certified Specialist, Jessie Hall. Take a look at that, Lonnie. That is a nice You're going to wear that proudly.
I'm excited about it.
Post that in your office.
Yes, definitely.
Great job.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Jesse, thanks for being with us again.
Absolutely.
You always
Thank
bring
you.
phenomenal information to the show. All right, we're going to take a short break here, and then we will bring the star of the show. Not Rena, but who? Atlas. We'll bring in Atlas. And he is not shrugging today, folks. He is ready to show off. Take us to break, Lonnie.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hey, we are back. We've got the all-star of the show.
Atlas.
We got Atlas today from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Atlas is how old, Reen?
Atlas is, I think he's about a year and a half.
About a year and a half old male. And
male.
he's got a little story that Rena's going to tell us about.
Yeah, he came from another county, and right now it escapes my memory. But we went over there and picked him up. He was on the euthanasia list, and he just spoke.
Oh yeah, I heard about that at the board meeting. Yep.
Yes. So we went over and got Atlas. He is a great dog. He is heartworm positive, but we did do a second blood test today. Just to confirm before he goes through any treatments.
A lot of time when heartworm tests are done, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but sometimes they get what they call a false positive on the heartworm check. So a lot of times the clinics, when that happens, and it may be a little bit sketchy, they really don't. You come back and you do another one.
That can happen with people.
Yeah.
So it's always good to get a second opinion or a second test.
Right, especially with the treatment that you got to put the dog through. You got to keep him contained.
Yep.
Keep him quiet.
Keep him calm. Yeah.
Right. While he's going through that treatment.
Yeah. So he does have a pre-adoption on him, and
pre-adoption. 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 I was wondering what you said there. Yeah.
Pre-adoption.
Yeah.
So there is a family that is looking at Atlas.
Nice.
And because I took him to the vet, I didn't want to be late or miss the show. I just brought Atlas back again. And pre-adoptions can always fall through. So it's never a set in stone. With Atlas, I do think it is a good pre-adoption that is on him. I do think that they're very interested in taking Atlas. However, we have so many other dogs out there that need dogs and cats and kittens that need homes.
Good boy.
And so it's never a wasted trip to come on out to the Humane Society of Blue Ridge and look at what we have. We have Jinx and Juno. We have Nico. Sienna's still there. We have a new puppy, I believe. There's cats and kittens, great cats and kittens. If you want an active cat, we have those. If you want a calm cat that just likes to sit by your side and just kind of lay around, we have those. If you want a kitten and start from scratch, we have kittens. So
I looked at the adoption stats for August, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Atlas just sat on the microphone, folks. I think the August adoption stats were the most that Humane Society of Blue Ridge has ever adopted out.
That's good.
Yeah, between the cats and the dogs. So.
Yeah. So, like I said, just come on out and visit us, Atlas. If you're interested in Atlas, ask if he's still there. You'll see him, and if the pre-adoption went through, or if it fell through, because it has happened before with the dogs. Nothing wrong about that. I mean, if you decide to get a dog and something happens in your life and you can't, it's okay. You just say, I can't take him right now, and he's back up there, and hopefully he has a second name on his list, his or her list. But come on out and look at our dogs and our cats. And just remember, if for some reason you can't have an animal, you just don't think that you can handle it, we are always looking for volunteers at the thrift store. That helps out with the animals at the Humane Society. You can come out and you can help at the Humane Society with the cats, with the dogs, with just laundry, with just about anything. So
tell
the
folks where we are.
171 Mineral Springs Road, which is just off of Aska. Follow us on Facebook and go to our website, which is humanesocietyofblueridge.org, and call us 706-632-4357.
Come and take a look at the cats, the dogs, the facility. Come visit our dog park. It's one of the best around. The other counties around have all come to see what we're doing, so we're proud of everything we do, and thank you for your time bringing over these guys that are looking for forever homes. I tell you what, I'm going to get attacked by my dog when I get home.
Yes, you are.
They're going to be licking it up. Anyway, Rena, thanks for bringing. I wanted to say one thing. Firstly, I guess I'm going to say two things. Firstly, I wanted to thank Brian for letting me host the show in his absence. Secondly, I wanted to give a huge shout out, winner of the week, winner of the year, winner of the month, to Lisa Pritchard, who is handling things back home while Brian takes care of some things with his family. We hope everything is going well in Pennsylvania. Brian will be on the show first thing 8 o'clock from the office Monday morning. So big shout out to Lisa Pritchard. I know that you're working hard. Fetcher News is a big, far-reaching organization, and she is my winner of the week, and should be everybody else's winner of the week. So, Bonnie, thank you for a great job this morning, posting that video, posting the pictures. We had a great time. Atlas, I hope you find your home, buddy. He's a sweet animal, isn't he?
He is so sweet. He really is.
Anyway, have a safe weekend, everybody. Good to be here. See you next week, and I'm out.